Hello, bonjour, it's Laura here. In this video, I'm going to talk about chemical reactions, help you be able to understand what's going on in a chemical reaction and how to recognize whether a chemical reaction has taken place. So there's a couple of things that we can look for when we're trying to identify whether a chemical reaction has taken place. In a chemical reaction, basically what's happening is the things that you're mixing together, your ingredients, are actually changing and becoming new substances. So there's actually a chemical change happening. This is different than a physical change. So remember we talked about physical changes before. For example, water freezing and becoming ice. That's an example of a physical change. And the water molecule is staying exactly the same. It's just interacting with other water molecules in a different way. In a chemical reaction or a chemical change takes place, that water molecule would change and it would become something else. It wouldn't be H2O anymore. Maybe it would become hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. So that would be an actual change. So things that you can look for when you're trying to tell whether you've had a chemical reaction happen would be formation of a gas. So you'd see some bubbles. You'd see a change in a color, formation of a solid, which is called a precipitate. And we'll be talking about that more in the third or fourth section. And the fourth thing is interesting, heat or a flame being produced. So that's really common. Like if you see a campfire and you've got a flame, that's a chemical reaction happening. Or if you see fireworks, that's a chemical reaction happening. The other thing is heat could be absorbed. So that's a little bit more counterintuitive, but it's quite interesting as well. So I've got some demos here that we can go through. So the first one is silver, which is silver and then hydrogen sulfide and oxygen reacting to form silver sulfide, which is tarnish, and water. So this is something that you might have seen with your grandma's silver. I've got some silver here actually that is my grandmother's. So you can see this plate, this is a silver plate, it's very tarnished. There's bits of black all over. To contrast, this would be what it would look like before it had tarnished. So what's happened here is the silver has reacted with hydrogen sulfide in the air and oxygen to produce this tarnish. So that's an example of a color change. So another thing that you could do, and you could do this at home, it's quite safe, and you've probably seen it in many science fair projects where you're producing a volcano effect using baking soda and reacting it with acetic acid or vinegar. What I want to do though is just put it in a little Ziploc bag like this. I've got some baking soda here. Here's the baking soda. I've just put a little bit in this Ziploc bag. And then what I'm going to do is pour some vinegar into it. So this is something fun that you can do at home. And the great part about it is you can actually feel the reaction happening. So I'm going to close that up. You can see there's bubbles, lots of bubbles here. And if you do this, hold it. What I'm feeling is that this is actually getting colder. And if you remember the slide before, remember we could have a change in heat, so we could have a flame or heat produced, or you could have heat absorbed. What we just did was absorb heat. That's why this felt colder. It's getting even colder now. So I think this is a great thing to do at home, so you can really see that reactions can produce heat or they can absorb heat, and that's when it becomes colder. So you don't have to have just one thing showing that you have a reaction happening. You could have two. So in that demo, gas was formed, you saw all those bubbles, and then heat was absorbed. We could feel that baggie got colder. Okay, so you should be able to recognize chemical reactions and when they've happened. And in the next video, I'll talk about what's going on behind the scenes, what you can't see. Okay, well done, Miigwech.